Soldiers all over the world have traditionally been deployed to a variety of locations, ranging from deepest darkest forests and scorching barren deserts to blazing war zones and trenches. With such exposure to some of the world's most volatile and secret places, strange things are bound to occur every now and again. But what if one of those missions suddenly took a truly bizarre turn? Various soldiers have come forward in recent years and detailed their strange encounters. I was talking to one person on Reddit who was telling me about their strange encounter. They said the following: "I've been a military man my whole life, and have certainly experienced a handful of things I wished I didn't. One interesting encounter I had was when I was deployed to Syria. I don't want to give any specific details away about where I was or what I was doing, but me and my team had a strange encounter that none of us were able to explain. To cut a long story short, I'm aware that the United States is one of the leading countries when it comes to tech, but when me and my friends saw this craft, it was unlike anything we'd seen before. The only way I can describe it is that it looked like a huge pyramid. It was my friend who first spotted the object and called us over to see if we could explain it. We watched as this thing descended around 50 feet, meaning that it was hovering just slightly above the ground. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably around 10 to 15 feet from the ground, but from our point it looked like it was pretty much resting. This diamond-shaped craft was shiny, silver in colour, and reflected everything around it. It reminded me of a huge mirror. We were all mesmerised by this and just watched as this thing descended back into the sky. I've never been one that's really believed in this stuff, but this encounter has stayed with me. I have no idea what this was or who it belonged to. I just thought it was interesting and that I'd share it with you." End quote. Interestingly, many individuals have come forward and told similar stories, and it's not just other countries where these types of crafts have been encountered. Some of the most well-known and interesting ones have happened close to military bases. Edwards Air Force Base sits amid the dusty plains of the Mojave Desert, home to the Earth's hottest place, Death Valley, where temperatures fluctuate from scorching hot in the summer to freezing cold in the winter. The desert is a hostile and dangerous place, but is also one of America's most fascinating places for a number of reasons. Geographically, the area is unique. Furthermore, the first space shuttle mission, Columbia, landed at Edwards on its return to Earth back in April of 1981. However, there's a reason much more relevant to this video as to why we're talking about this base. Edwards Air Force Base, by location and the majority of its purpose, is just a regular military installation, but it also serves a joint purpose. The base essentially controls activities at the nearby Homey Airport, also known as Groom Lake, and also more commonly known as Area 51. One would imagine that some strange things must be seen late at nights that far out in the desert, surrounded by nothing but open air and dusty expanses. One night in 1965, an air traffic controller at the base had a strange encounter with what he believed was a flying saucer. In 1965, Edwards, like US Air Force bases all over the country, were on high alert for suspicious activity in the skies. Tension with the Soviet Union was mounting, and the most shocking thing that radar controllers in the Nevada desert could have seen back then would have been a Russian aircraft. However, the objects that appeared above the base, apparently flying very high and very fast, appeared in sets of 7, and looked like pulsating lights against the night sky. Others also stated they travelled in groups of 12. However, the controllers couldn't be sure of what they'd seen, and as a precaution, an F-106A fighter jet was scrambled from the nearby George Air Force Base at Victoriaville. Yet the strange lights continued to climb into the night sky, far outpacing the fighter jets. Controllers noted that the craft seemed to simply fade away into space, becoming one of the stars. The thing about the Edwards incident is that the eyewitnesses' reports were credible, so the crew at the base most definitely did see something that night. It's just not clear what they saw. We don't know what sort of threat or how bad a threat these supposed UFOs posed, but when the evidence was released only about 15 years ago, people realised that the government had gone to great lengths at the time to cover up these sorts of incidents. UFOs have been a thing of immense fascination across the world for thousands of years, but Americans were amongst the first to take a continued interest in the phenomena, and when multiple soldiers, those who we trust with keeping us safe, are mind-boggled and ultimately convinced by their own sightings, you can't help but think there might be something else out there. These are just a few examples of what military officials have encountered, and there's definitely no shortage of these types of stories. It's interesting when we hear about UFO sightings that have been witnessed by everyday people, but when military officials come forward and share their stories they seem more credible. This is because these are the people that work around this type of tech, so are used to seeing high-tech military equipment on a daily basis. No matter what your thoughts surrounding these incidents, one thing that can't be ignored is that there are only two possible conclusions to make when it comes to repeated UFO sightings. Either there's a truth within the story or it's false. So what do you make of these interesting reports made by soldiers and military officials? If the best military jets can't keep up with these crafts when pursuing them, then where do you think they're coming from and what do you think they are? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comments section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.